Greetings, humans. You have entered the Command Zone, your destination for all aspects of Elder Dragon Highlander. Enjoy your stay.
Hello and welcome back to another episode of the Command Zone podcast. I'm your host, Rachel Weeks.
I'm Jimmy Wong.
That's Jimmy Wong.
Yeah, we're here. And we're continuing a series that Rachel began by herself, but now have me to help with.
I was like, this would be more fun if there was somebody to talk to.
Yeah, solo episodes are quite the mountain to climb.
Yeah, so we brought it back. A lot of people really liked that episode, so we're going to continue the series. We're going to give you 10 cards you can buy for a single $10 bill. All of them combined under $10. There was some confusion.
Very cool.
So yeah, you can, instead of buying a new pack of sleeves, instead of buying a new deck box, you can buy 10 cool new cards to improve your mana base. Because today we are talking about utility lands.
Okay, improving your mana base, not necessarily with color fixing, but in this case, utility fixing.
Yeah, making your lands work a little bit harder for you. A lot of people really struggle to get lands in their deck because it's not fun to add basics to your deck. But if you have cool lands that have utility in the early game and late game, they actually can sort of serve the role of just being a mana sink, just being something. You're like, I don't have anything in my hand I want to cast, so I might as well do something else. And it makes sure that you're being mana efficient, which is cool.
The most basic version of this are lands that draw you cards, but there's a whole lot more going on in the 10 lands we're going to be talking about today. And again, you can get them all for under $10 total.
Yeah.
A nice little budget exercise. 10 for 10, everybody.
Let's get into it. The first one we're going to talk about is one that somebody played against me recently, and I was like, okay, what is that? Show me that again.
Super good.
This card is great.
I jam it in a lot of decks now. It's Abstergo Entertainment. So this is a legendary land from the Assassin's Creed set, and it has the ability to tap to add a colorless mana, but it also has just one mana tap, add one mana of any color. So this doesn't actually hurt the mana base too much if you're many colors and you need to occasionally, I just didn't need that extra black or whatever. But the most important ability is the third one. It's pay 3, tap, exile Abstergo Entertainment, return up to one target historic card from your graveyard to your hand, then exile all graveyards. Okay.
This is awesome.
So that's Bojuka Bog right there in the second half, but more for every graveyard. But more importantly, you get to return something to your hand too.
There's a lot to like about this card. First of all, there's a lot of people may have missed it. This is an Assassin's Creed card, so there's not a ton of them going around, but it is still quite budget. It's only $2.75 for Abstergo Entertainment, and it's just doing a lot. It's recursion if you need it. It's graveyard hate if you need it. And having both of those condensed into one thing that doesn't even take up an actual card slot makes this a lot of utility.
Yeah, it doesn't even enter tapped. Yeah. And occasionally you will need to use it for that colored mana and you'll have to pay one more, but at least it has that option. Not all the lands we talk about today even have that.
I think the big thing to compare this to is Scavenger Grounds, which is a very common card if you need graveyard hate and you're not in black. So that's the colorless land. It's a desert that taps to add colorless, and then it's 2 taps sacrifice a desert, usually Scavenger Grounds itself, to exile all graveyards. So Abstergo Entertainment has the filtering on it and is only one more mana to get a card back from your graveyard before you exile all of the graveyards.
Yeah, and as we've seen, historic cards are aplenty these days. Before it was like, okay, yeah, we have artifacts, we have legendaries and sagas. We don't have that many sagas, but now we have sagas left and right, up and down. And those are the things that naturally enter the graveyard. So you have more and more targets with every single set that comes out. Sagas just seem like a card type that are here to stay. And it's great. There's a little bit of recursion on here.
Yeah.
Get something huge back that you got, killed.
I think a lot of people will look at this card as like a build around type of effect, but there's enough legends running around, there's enough artifacts running around that this could just say, draw you a card from your graveyard and exile everything, and that's still very good. Yeah,
not so great if you're the graveyard deck and you're trying to do that, but if you're incidentally playing stuff in the graveyard or just that you're in a removal heavy group, you're going to like the fact that you have a little bit of recursion here.
Yeah, that is true. It does exile everything just like Scavenger Grounds does. So if you're leaning heavily on your graveyard, it is going to work against you a little bit.
A card that I really like to compare this to is one that I also loved when it first came out. It's Plaza of Heroes. It's a bit more expensive.
Yeah.
And this is a card that taps add colorless, or you can add it to add a mana of any color, which is only for legendary spells, or you can have it add a mana color for other legendary permanents you own, but most importantly, it has 3, tap, exile it, target legendary creature gains hexproof and indestructible until end of turn.
Sure.
So it's like 2 sides of one coin, right? You got recursion with Abstergo Entertainment, but you also have protection with Plaza of Heroes, and some decks will want recursion more than protection. Some decks want protection more than recursion.
Yeah. Abstergo also has disruption.
Yeah, disruption as well, and it can get more stuff back. Plaza of Heroes is just about legendary creatures, but Plaza of Heroes has saved my butt plenty of times. But there are other times where I'm like, actually, I don't want to hold up 3 mana to just try and potentially protect from removal. It's actually better to have that 3 mana open because I want to buy something back or get rid of someone's graveyard on an end step.
Yeah, I found that if I'm playing against a graveyard deck and I have a Scavenger Grounds or an Abstergo Entertainment in play, that you just kind of lord it over them. Like, you keep it in play as long as you possibly can.
Yeah.
And then, but turn off all of the reanimation effects in their hand, because if they're holding a reanimate, they're not going to want to burn it when they know you can exile their graveyard.
Yeah.
So
3 mana is a lot to hold up in addition to the land. So, but just having this out in the long game when things are getting really, gummed up on the board and you just need something to break through, then a card like this starts to look even more attractive. So I do love it.
That's a very cool one. That's the most expensive one we're going to talk about today, but there's a lot of cool ones to go, including this next one, which has a big brother we all know. It's Rogue's Passage. This one is Access Tunnel.
Hey, there you go.
It's a colorless land that taps to add colorless and then says 3 tap, target creature with power 3 or less can't be blocked this turn.
Aha. So that's very nice because Rogue's Passage costs 4 to make any creature not blockable.
Yeah, effectively 5 because you have to tap the Rogue's Passage.
Right, so Access Tunnel is effectively 4. But I've seen Rogue's Passages get played in so many games that never ever get tapped because no one ever wants to pay that mana cost. And there are other ways to give unblockable. But Access Tunnel is nice because it actually affects, I think, more creatures that care about it sometimes. And having the ability to make something tiny go through can also be a huge deal because those creatures might have combat damage triggers.
Yeah, I mean, this card is only 50 cents and it can help you push through tons of little creatures that can get you plenty of value without committing any more boards to the cards to the board. Like, I run it in my Nashi Moonsage's Scion deck.
Oh, yeah.
Which is a Rat Ninja that's a 3/2 that when it hits, each player exiles the top card of their library until end of turn. You may play one of those cards. If you cast a spell this way, pay life equal to its mana value rather than paying its mana cost. So you can see, like, I'm spending 4 mana to get a free spell off the top and get through with Nashi, which is good because there's a lot of like equipment stuff that this deck leans on or combat damage triggers that it leans on. So if I can pay 4 mana to get all of the value of hitting with my commander, then I'm absolutely going to do that.
Yeah, Nashi's super cute for that. You also have cards like Myrel, Shield of Argive, as well as like Delina, Wild Mage, which is a creature that everyone will block immediately when it attacks.
Absolutely. I will trade with Delina if I can.
Yeah, so having a way to make sure that Delina sticks around is pretty good.
Yeah, it's just a clean way to guarantee that you have some kind of source of evasion in a deck that relies on it.
Yeah, and I like what you wrote here, which is like, does the attack or combat damage trigger that you're getting from this, does it net you 4 mana's worth of spells? Because you're spending essentially 4 mana on it, 3 plus the land. So with Delina, it's like, yeah, you're creating a copy of a massive creature, a legendary creature maybe, and it becomes not legendary. So is that worth 4 mana? Probably, because that creature might be a 6 mana, 7 mana spell.
Right.
Myrel makes a bunch of soldiers. Is that worth 4 mana, the number of soldiers making? If so, then you're getting a good deal.
Yeah, but if your commander is something like 6, that when it attacks you mill 3 and get like a land off of it, I don't know if that's worth 4 mana.
Right.
Maybe it's better for you to play a land that mills, something like that. So reevaluating really what you're trying to get out of this unblockability, because unlike Rogue's Passage, which will likely kill a player if you're activating it, this is more of a value land that will get you additional synergy, will let you punch through for some extra damage, but is probably not going to win you the game on the spot.
Yeah, unless you're like an infect deck, in which case you're going to get a 3-power creature in and then you pump it, or your commander or the card just has a lot of pump effects or ways to boost the power, then you can do some sneaky stuff with it as well.
Yeah, you can make something unblockable and attach a bunch of equipment to it, and it's still unblockable.
Oh, that's right, and then attack with it.
Absolutely.
That's a good point. Yeah, especially in those equipment decks with free equip costs, or do equips for free, like combat and stuff.
Only 50 cents for Access Tunnel. That's an easy one to pick up and try in your decks. If you're running Rogue's Passage and it's really to just like make one of your value commanders punch through, then you should probably add Access Tunnel instead.
Yeah. Rogue's Passage, overrated. Access Tunnel, underrated.
I've always talked about how Rogue's Passage is overrated, and then it kills me, and I'm like, yeah, it does do that.
Well, or it'll land, and everyone goes like, oh, it could, and then it never does.
And then it doesn't. I don't know. Rogue's Passage is a colorless land until you're dead.
Yeah,
it's sort of like Mill that way.
Raise your hand if you've been threatened by a Rogue's Passage that never did anything or did do something.
We've got a lot of cards we want to talk about in this episode. We're going to give you 10 cards you can buy for $10, and you can support the show and episodes like this by using our affiliate links over at cardkingdom.com/command. Card Kingdom has a huge selection of singles and sealed product. If you're excited about Edge of Eternity, which is out, or Spider-Man, which is right around the corner, you can start pre-ordering that kind of stuff or picking up singles from sets past. Poor Edge of Eternity got squished a little bit. By,
the Eternities were actually quite short.
Short. Yeah, they didn't have time to get all the Eternity out. But if you haven't picked up those cards, go to Card Kingdom. You can get them all in one place, and they will ship it to you safely and soundly. There's a lot of different cool foilings and printings, so you want to make sure that you're shopping with people who know Magic cards and are going to get you the ones that you want.
Yes.
Again, cardkingdom.com/command.
And then make those cards nice and protected, even though it's under $10 for all 10 of these. You still want to put it into a sleeve because playing without sleeves is crazy, especially if you have MDFCs, and then you're just cheating. So ultrapro.com/command for sleeves, deck boxes, playmats, wall scrolls, dice, you name it, they've got it. When it comes to Magic accessories, they've got sorter trays that I love to use. They have amazing different styles of binders for every set with the official Magic art. They have the Mana 8 line, which we love to sign at conventions. We use Ultra Pro because they've been in the business for the longest. They know what they're doing. I've been trusting my collection to them for 30 plus years now. I still have top loaders from when I had my first Badlands during Ice Age. So they last the test of time. ultrapro.com/command to support the show that way and get your cool stuff.
Finally, you can support the show directly by going to patreon.com/commandzone. We're trying to do all kinds of different exciting content that you can check out on our channel, and you can support that kind of content by joining our Patreon. All of that money goes towards making episodes like this or cool projects like this sci-fi short that we put out recently.
Yeah, it's on screen right now. Have you seen our sci-fi short film dedicated to Magic the Gathering, poking fun at universes beyond, but all in all, a love letter to this game that we love so much?
Yeah.
You can watch it right now, and it's thanks to our patrons for sponsoring it, EDHREC as well. But without the support of our patrons who have access to our inner community at Discord as well, so you can talk to Rachel, myself, Josh on that channel, ask us questions. Without your support, this sort of stuff wouldn't be possible, and with your support, more stuff like it can be possible in the future.
Join that Patreon. Plus,
patreon.com/command.
We shout out one lucky patron every single podcast episode. And this one is dedicated to Jack PK7S.
Sounds like a droid that would be in the sci-fi shorts.
Jack Pix 7S.
You rock.
You rock, Jack.
All right, let's talk about some more cool lands. 10 for 10 continues with number 3. And it's a bit dry in here. It's a desert. It's Arid Archway. So this is a land that enters the battlefield tapped, and very specifically, it's a land that is similar to a lot of bounce lands in that you must return the land when it enters the battlefield. So when it enters the battlefield, return the land you control to its owner's hand. If another desert was returned this way, you surveil one.
Sure.
Probably won't happen unless you're playing Scavenger Grounds or whatever.
Yeah.
But you can tap it to add colorless. So Temple of the False Gods, Soul Ring, cards that add 2 colorless mana. There's a land that enters, you bounce a land, and the next turn it just becomes a 2-mana tapping land.
Yeah, this is a pretty classic bounce land. This one is currently going for just $1. We picked this one because I wanted to talk about bounce lands for a second, because I do think of them as like more of a utility land, especially lately, because I don't necessarily want to play them on certainly not turn 1, but probably not on turn 2 where they're going to force me to discard.
Yeah.
They do kind of mess up your mana base a little bit, but there's a lot of utility that's sewn up in bounce lands, especially if you're playing modal double face cards.
Yeah. How many times have you played a Bala Good Recovery or a Valakut Awakening and gone, darn,
well, I wish I
had that.
Cast that spell.
There's only a card in my deck. Well, I don't want to play a spell that returns land in my hand. Well, what about a land that does it?
Yeah. I mean, they're making more and more of these kinds of effects that are just lands that function as spells.
Yeah.
Channel lands like Takenuma or the adventure lands that they just made from Final Fantasy.
There was also I think there was ones from the last time we did adventures as well, but Midgar City of Mako, card that I'm looking to put into a lot of my decks.
Yeah, that card's
an adventure
great.
land. And you can buy the spell part of it back, which is really cool.
So that's great. It basically draws you a spell when you put it onto the battlefield. But there's a lot of cool tricks that you can do with bounce lands in your deck building. Specifically, I play a lot of bounce lands in my white decks because it helps you enable your catch-up ramp effects. So these are ramp effects that only work if you're behind on lands. bounce lands and sacrifice lands like Lotus Fields or that kind of thing will help you artificially short the number of lands you have on the battlefield so that when you play your Knight of the White Orchid, for example,
you will have less lands.
You will have fewer lands than an opponent across the table from you. And you will get that land, and then you can play your land for turn. And now you're ahead on mana, where just a moment ago, it looked like you could have been behind.
Yeah, our Chaomancer's map is a similar thing. Claim Jumper, which is from the same set as Arid Archway, will allow you to do that. Actually, this was a huge part of the strategy of my Beza the Bounding Spring deck.
It was.
Yeah, which is like get behind on resources and then use that to your advantage. So either I was sacrificing lands or bouncing them with cards like Arid Archway and then using Claim Jumper or whatever else to again surge back ahead in card advantage. A card called Sand Scout is really interesting.
It's great. We're having a desert kind of day.
Yeah, it's a desert kind of day. When it enters the battlefield, if an opponent controls more lands than you, search your library for a desert card and then put it on the battlefield, tapped, then shuffle, which is great because you can actually get the Arid Archway with this.
Yeah,
So,
that's true.
cool.
There's a lot of utility deserts that are really sweet. Having these bounce lands in your deck just sort of makes everything work a little bit better. Like even normally it'll have you pick up a land and then you have a land drop for your next turn.
Yeah, that's huge for me.
Which, it basically guarantees you're going to hit your next land drop at the cost of having a tapped land now.
Yeah, so that is one thing you have to be careful of, and obviously Arid Archway is a land that does not tap for colors, so your deck cannot be a 5-color deck and run a bunch of these. There are, however, a bunch of bounce lands in the color pairs as well. So I think if you have a couple of MDFCs in your deck, or if you have any amount of these white ketchup ramp mechanics, then you do want some amount of bounce lands in your deck. You're willing to take that tempo hit. Or your curve is built in such a way that you don't actually need that extra mana every turn. You're okay being on turn 5 to play 4 mana's worth of spells and then bouncing a land to your hand. Because you can always also tap the land before you bounce it as well. So you're not losing the mana value from that one land that gets returned.
Just from the land drop this turn because it comes in tapped.
Yeah.
They're also very good with untap effects.
Oh, yeah.
So a big thing that's in your Beza deck or in a lot of my white decks that have this similar kind of package is you'll run equipment that helps you untap these lands. So like Lost Jite is whenever the equipped creature deals damage, you put a charge counter on the Jite and you can remove that charge counter to untap target land. Normally this would only give you 1 mana back, but in this case it would give you 2.
Yeah, and the Jite can climb up and get a bunch of different counters on it over time, and so you can activate this multiple times. Pip-Boy 3000, just one of my favorite equipment now of all time, says untap up to 2 target lands whenever an equipped creature attacks. And of course, there's just other great incidental effects on top of it.
Yeah. So combining this sort of like catch-up ramp with the untapper effects, with bounce lands and MDFCs, makes you build a really neat and intentional synergy package into your ramp and into your mana base.
Yeah, and in playing mono white, as I've learned, eking out that extra value from your land base is really, really nice.
Really important.
And
too.
makes people at the table go, wow, that was pretty sweet what you just did.
Pretty sweet.
And you're like, that's the thing I was going for.
Yeah, I want you to say pretty sweet.
Pretty sweet, dude. Wow, where'd you learn that tech? From the command zone, or did you come up with it yourself? You can say you came up with it yourself.
It's
'Cause
yours.
I did, and then I found out Rachel did it, and I was like, ha-ha!
We're
great
so
minds
smart.
Think alike. Yeah, there you go. Do not, however, combine these bounce lands with cards that double ETB effects. So you're like Panharmonicons, not so hot.
Panharmonicon doesn't count your lands, but the new
good.
like blue guy says whenever a permanent enters the battlefield, you return
that's
to
right.
Elishnorn, Mother of Machines.
Elishnorn, yeah.
Also
Starfield
pairs
Vocalist is the one you're talking
Starfield
about.
Vocalist
Yeah,
and
yeah.
Elishnorn, Mother of Machines, both pair very badly
Yeah,
with
very
bounce
badly with
lands
these
because
bounce
they
lands.
force you to return 2 lands to your hand,
Ew.
which is a bit too much of a tempo hit.
Yeah, unless you are playing a deck that specifically wants to do that, but probably not.
Probably not. But so be careful with that synergy because it does have a bit of a two-edged sword.
Yeah, and like you said earlier, if you draw an opening hand and you have 2 lands in it and one of them is a bounce land, you don't want that either because you're drawing a card in your first turn, no matter what, in Commander. If you play that bounce land on turn 2, return a land, you're going to have 8 cards in your hand unless you manage to play a spell on turn 1.
Right.
And 2, I guess.
Yeah.
Mana.
So it'll force you to discard a card and you lose some of the benefit of that, having that bounce land in the first place.
Yeah.
So when you're playing this bounce land package, you also want to make sure that you just have enough lands that you have something else that you can play and you're not going to take that tempo hit from playing it.
But when you do make the most of these bounce lands, they are really, really nice.
Yeah. Speaking of untappers, there's one of my favorite utility lands has caught a couple of reprints and is finally affordable enough to put on this list. It's Deserted Temple.
But it's not a desert.
Not a desert.
It's just deserted.
It's simply deserted.
Yeah.
This is a land that taps to add colorless, and it's one tap, untap target land.
Ooh.
This
Richard
is
Port in reverse.
$1.25 for a Deserted Temple right now.
Wow.
That is extremely cheap for a card that used to be like $28 before this reprint.
Well, it got deserted. No one's in it.
That's true.
Like, well, this has no real estate value anymore.
Yeah, it was wildly expensive, and they put a few reprints out, and suddenly a card that wasn't something that we could play super regularly became much more accessible.
Yeah.
The funny thing about Deserted Temple is it does sort of pair best with other expensive lands.
Because it's giving you extra value out of another land.
Right.
Yeah, that makes sense. And that makes sense why it itself was expensive at some point as well.
So this pairs best with lands that tap to add at least 3 mana. Will make it mana positive. So something like a Cabal Coffers, a Nykthos Shrine to Nyx is my favorite to use it with.
Notably very cheap card right now.
Notably, it's like $70 or something like that. It's
up
completely
there. Don't buy a
embarrassing.
foil, that's for sure.
But that taps to add Devotion or the brand new Avendo Waking Haven.
Gaia's Cradle.
Gaia's Cradle
new
at
Gaia's
home.
Cradle, yeah.
So yeah, any of these lands that just tap to give you at least 3 mana means that you can amplify that effect with your Deserted Temple.
Yeah, very cool. And yeah, there's ways to generate tons of mana with this.
Yeah, absolutely.
And the Cabal Coffers. There's also utility lands that want to get untapped because you want to use them multiple times. Maze of Ith, not technically a land in your land deck unless you have ways to turn it into a land, but being able to untap into target attacking creature, remove it from combat. Usually on a turn rotation, you're just threatening this once a turn cycle, but if you're able to hold up more mana, have other things to do with that mana as well, then your Maze of Ith looks even spicier.
Yeah. Urza Saga. I had an Urza Saga in play with a Deserted Temple recently and was like, 4 robots I will take.
Yeah, and they all buff each other.
They all buff each other.
Sick.
Then you go get a Soul Ring and you have 4 5/5s.
Wow.
That was what I was doing with my mana, but like that was pretty good if I don't have to commit any more cards to the board and I'm making a ton of threats.
Yeah, that's really sweet. I love that.
Plus, it pairs pretty well with some of the other lands that we're going to talk about in today's episode. So if you're more of a budget builder and you want to keep things inexpensive, don't worry. Deserted Temple is still for you. There's some cool stuff you can do.
Yeah, pick them up. I feel like this is a card that won't stay too cheap for too long once people sort of get a grip on it. But it also hopefully means that they get to reprint it more.
Yeah, I was excited to see this reprint. So get it in hands, get it into your hands so you can play with this really fun card.
Okay.
We've got a lot more cool cards that we're going to talk about in this episode. We're going to tell you all the things you can untap with Deserted Temple after a few words from our sponsors. And in August, we have that set, and in September, we have another.
Rachel, wake up. I think the product fatigue may have finally gotten to you.
Look, I can talk about cards all day. It's not that. It's the summer heat and my old mattress. I just haven't been sleeping well.
Oh, well, if you want to upgrade your sleep, what you got to do is get a new mattress from Brooklyn Bedding. I got the Aurora Lux cooling mattress, and it has been amazing. The cooling foam keeps me comfortable through the night, so I always wake up rested and refreshed. Brooklyn Bedding mattresses are great for spinal alignment and back health too, and there are plenty of different options for any body type or sleep style. They've even got an easy 2-minute quiz to help you find the perfect match for you.
Nice. I'll take that quiz right after recording.
Sounds good. Now, are you ready to talk about the thousands of new cards to keep track of?
The product fatigue! He's crashing! We need his cool and rejuvenating Brooklyn Bedding mattress! Stacked!
Go to brooklynbedding.com and use our promo code COMMAND at checkout to get 30% off site-wide. This offer is not available anywhere else. That's brooklynbedding.com and promo code COMMAND for 30% off site-wide. Make sure you enter our show name after checkout so they know we sent you. Again, brooklynbedding.com, promo code COMMAND.
Hello and welcome to Apogee Science. I am Kilo, your knowledge interface for lucrative opportunities and owner of Kilo's No Lies Cake Shop. Even for a supercomputer like me, starting my own business was intimidating. I needed a partner, but after many contenders failed my rigorous tests, I found the perfect e-commerce companion, Shopify. Their design studio full of ready-to-use templates let me build an effective online store, or as I call it, visit my web portal. Then their marketing platform helped me launch email and social media campaigns to reach new customers and dispel the hateful rumors about my cake's existence. And with Shopify's expertise in global shipping, they ensure my totally real cakes make it exactly where they need to go. It doesn't take a rocket scientist to see why Shopify powers 10% of US e-commerce. So make a note, with Shopify, you too can find huge success.
Turn your big business idea into with Shopify on your side. Sign up for your $1 per month trial and start selling today at shopify.com/TCZ. Go to shopify.com/TCZ. Again, shopify.com/TCZ.
Yes, let's go.
Oh, sweet. You're finally playing Marvel Strike Force.
Just started. I found this code 4. It unlocked the entire Fantastic Four team for free.
Nice. That's a great team to get early. They're Fantastic Four.
I just said that.
I was gonna say they're fantastic for the Heroes campaign. Human Torch will really blaze through those early nodes to unlock more characters fast.
And I hear they're releasing a new Mr. Fantastic and Invisible Woman to tie in with the new movie. So if you max out Torch and the Thing now, you'll be ready to rock as soon as they come out.
Sounds like it's clobbering time.
And don't forget, the original Invisible Woman is still amazing in the late game. Like in Alliance War, you can try pairing her up with Scarlet Witch and Vision. Her psionic shield protects the team and stuns enemies. So Vision's safe to swoop in with his laser. They'll never see it coming.
Cause she's invisible.
Sick.
Then there's Mr. Fantastic. It's not a stretch to say he's top tier in Cosmic Crucible. Combine him with the Illuminati, you're going to dominate. His Orbital Assault Ultimate annihilates enemy defense bonuses.
So with one promo code, I've got Mr. Fantastic for Cosmic Crucible, Invisible Woman for War, then Human Torch, and the Thing.
Pretty sweet deal.
I guess that 4 code really was fantastic.
Hey, there you go.
Marvel Strike Force. Click the link in the description to download it now, and for a limited time, use the code 4 to unlock the entire Fantastic Four team for free.
You browsing for some new tech?
Yeah, I'm building Tiamat and ARCHIDEKT. Ooh, how about Zergo and Ojutai?
Did you just drag and drop that card image directly into your deck?
Yep, with ARCHIDEKT, you can drag and drop card images from EDHREC or Scryfall directly into the deck list. No typing required.
That is so cool.
Ooh, okay, check this out. I'm gonna drag and drop Dragon Storm into the deck, and then boom, I'm gonna drop a bunch of dragons on the battlefield.
A 9-drop, huh? Seems ambitious.
It was just for the pun. ARCHIDEKT is the best place to browse, brew, and playtest commander decks. Just go to archidekt.com/commandzone to get started.
That's ARCHIDEKT.com/commandzone.
And we're back, everybody, talking about 10 for 10, our new game show here at the Command Zone. 10 lands for a total of $10 or less. This next one is a card that I've played this card so many times in my life.
It is still good.
Yeah.
And I think people have thought that this card has sort of like faded into the background, and I just don't think that's true.
It's great rate. It's great for so many types of different decks. It's Kher Keep. It's a legendary land that taps to add colorless mana, and you can pay 1 and a red to tap it to create a 0/1 red kobold creature named Kobolds of Kher Keep. If you have the original token or card for this, then you can play that. They're funny looking.
There you go. Yeah. All the arts for kobolds.
Yeah, especially those old ones.
Yeah.
But yeah, this is great. 1 and a red, tap it, and you just make a 0/1. There's so much use for kobolds.
Yeah.
Not because they're kobolds, but because they could be chump blockers.
They're creatures. I mean, this is the best rate on a land for making a creature token that comes in untapped ever.
Yeah.
Right? There's like 4 mana ones that do it, like Castle Ardenvale, the white one, will make one, but that's 5 mana. It's 4 to activate and then tap this one. This is 2 and tapping this. So only 3 mana to make a 0/1 once a turn rotation is huge. And like, don't underestimate the power of a free chump blocker.
Yeah.
Because your opponents will be like, what are your blockers? And you're like, it's this and this, but I can make a free, like, I can make a 0/1.
No, okay, I'll look somewhere else.
Yeah, they're just not interested in like wasting this attack. It's not as bad as if it has Death Touch, but it's like close, where you're like, that's a waste of my time. I'm going to see if I can find something else.
Yeah.
So having a chump blocker is great. Turns off their combat damage triggers, and it's just something that you haven't really paid that much for. This is an untapped land that cost you a little bit of mana, and that is it.
Yeah, I run in every single mono red deck that I can. If you're a Rachel player and you love Skull Clamps, run it in your Skull Clamp decks.
Honestly, I think you just kind of run it in equipment decks.
Yeah.
Like, you're okay having a colorless land in most equipment decks because you have ways to spend your mana. And
colorless especially.
Your colorless
equip
mana
cost,
is what I mean. Equipment decks fold when you don't have a body to equip all your stuff to, when you get blown out by a board wipe and you're like, well, my commander costs like 5 and then I'm going to equip all this stuff. But if you can just make a 0/1 that can wear some equipment, that actually goes a pretty long way.
Yeah, because it turns out that the equipment are the ones giving the creature the cool stuff, not necessarily the creature itself.
The power, the attack triggers, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
And if this can just help you rebuild a turn earlier, then that's huge. You can do it on end step, so it can attack as soon as you untap. Does a lot of good.
If you do play in a Skull Clamp deck, I didn't realize it, but I copied over the most recent one, I think, from Tarkir Dragonstorm, and it seems like the perfect one with the art.
It is perfect.
It's got a little,
the like Muppet
a little
one.
guy. Yeah, it looks like freaking Grover or whatever.
Of course, if you're in aristocrat decks or token decks and you just need creature material to sacrifice, but I feel like people think about that, like get far enough that they will play this card. But I think that people don't play it enough in just like Boros decks.
Yeah.
Like if you're running Welcoming Vampire or like Takesia's Welcome, these white draw engines that care about creatures entering but only trigger once per turn.
You can do it on other turns.
You can do it on other turns. You can trigger it a second time, get yourself a card and a little token for your trouble. So
yeah, that's nice.
I think this card's just great. It's only 50 cents and it's not going to mess up your mana base.
A bunch now,
A bunch. It's been in a ton of different precons. It's like... and it hasn't lost its power. It's just sort of...
Yeah. I will say, if you have other things to do with your mana, to not just hold open a Kher Keep. Ideally, you're holding open Kher Keep in addition to a 3-mana removal spell or something else that can affect the board or protect you on those turns where you need it. And then occasionally you're like, sweet, I can make a token, draw a card, equip something to it, etc. All right, next up, a lot of red and white lands in this list. It's Mistveil Plains. This is a land dash plains, so it is fetchable by cards that care about that. Taps to add 1 mana, to 1 white mana, like any plains, and it enters the battlefield tapped. But you can also pay a white and tap it. Put target card from your graveyard on the bottom of your library. Activate this ability only if you control 2 or more white permanents.
Yeah, Mistveil Plains is sort of an old classic. It's only sitting at... $1.50 right now. And it's a great little utility land, even though it looks like it doesn't really do anything for you.
Yeah.
First of all, it's really good if you have a commander that cares about searching your library.
Because it will shuffle that card that you put down there back into the library. You might redraw it later.
Yeah, like this should be in every Light Paws Emperor's Voice deck, right?
Yeah, because you're tutoring constantly with Light Paws.
Absolutely. And if somebody kills your commander, then all of the auras go to the bin. This is a good way to be like, okay, the best aura in my deck is in the graveyard because I tutored it previously. I'm going to put it back in and get it back onto the battlefield.
Yeah.
And it costs you 2 mana to do that.
Yeah, and rebuying some of those auras are really important, especially the really powerful ones that you don't run as many. Let's say you only have 1 or 2 redundant copies of it, but that version is in the graveyard now. It's just the best one.
Yeah.
Oswald Fiddlebender is also a very ticky-tacky tap and untap, search your library for stuff deck, and you're constantly tutoring for stuff there.
Yeah, I mean, I would probably...
And you're sacking artifacts, so you can, again, rebuy that and get that artifact back with another sacrifice trigger from Oswald.
I think it's worth running in, like, a Sisay Weatherlight Captain deck. That's the one that you pay Wooburg and tutor legendary creatures to the battlefield.
Permanents.
Legendary permanents. Because you're going to probably have a decent amount of fetch lands that can find this thing when you need it.
Yeah.
And it means that you're like, okay, I really need to get this Hate Bearer. I really need to get this Planeswalker back into play. But it's chilling in the graveyard right now, and I have a way to find it immediately. So it shuffles it back into your deck, which is great.
Yeah, and again, because it's a land, you don't have to play your, there's a couple of cards that will just put a card back onto the bottom of your library, and you typically don't want to play those cards. So having this on the land is really nice.
Yeah. Not to mention, this can prevent you from getting decked.
Oh, interesting.
If you have a mill deck in your meta, if you're a self-mill deck yourself, and there's a risk of you losing your entire library regularly, this is a free way for you to just like put a card on top of your library, draw it for turn, and not immediately lose at the beginning of your turn.
Yeah, notably, again, you need to have 2 or more white permanents to do so. So if your commander is not base white, this makes it a bit more difficult unless you're heavy white. But like, again, with like Light Paws or Zur the Enchanter, when you have auras and stuff, that's just additional white permanents that you can have to make sure that this is always active.
Yeah.
Also, there are times when you want your commander to go to the graveyard, or it has to go to the graveyard because you're playing a secret commander deck. Your commander's in your library, and when it gets removed, you probably already have ways to reanimate or whatever, but this is another way, plus a tutor, to get it back into your hand without having to go through the graveyard.
Yeah. I think any deck that's running a fair amount of tutors, you're building around something in the 99, or you have a tutor in the command zone, or you're just a combo deck. This is worth having in the deck. It's easy for you to fetch up, and if you get blown out by something, your combo gets destroyed, you can get it and take another crack at the combo.
Yeah, very cool.
So that is Mistveil Plains. It's seems pretty niche, but remember this is a very low opportunity cost, and it's fetchable, so it's easy to find when you actually need it.
Yep. Okay, next up is a personal favorite of mine.
Oh, yeah.
I love it, but I haven't really gotten to play it. But I know that when I do, it will do work.
It's going to be great.
Yeah, Nesting Grounds. Card's getting better all the time. It's getting better all the time. Tap it to add colorless. You can pay 1 and tap it, move a counter from target permanent you control onto another targeted permanent. Activate only as a sorcery.
Couple things to note with that. So you move it from one of your things, not yourself. You can't move like infect counters from yourself to somebody else. It has to be a permanent.
Permanent you control.
But you can remove counters from a permanent you control and put them on your opponent's stuff.
Okay.
For example.
So stun counters or finality counters are ones that you don't want on your stuff, but would be great on your other opponent's stuff. And again, if you don't move it onto something another player controls, you could just also put a finality counter or a stun counter on just a regular old enchantment.
A land.
That doesn't care about having a stun counter on it or whatever, right?
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of really neat ways to use nesting grounds, and I thought it was going to be kind of like a neat, like techie piece.
Yeah.
But I've put it in a lot of decks because finality counters have gotten more prevalent. Ability counters, like indestructible counters on Mondrak or something like that, are great to be able to move around.
Lore counters.
Yeah.
So many sagas, again, and then being able to reset your cards and have them re-trigger again to get a new the same chapter twice or whatever is really big. Mm-hmm. Impending counters are great to remove in case you get stuck.
Off your Overlord.
Yeah, with an Overlord that someone keeps proliferating like I did. Yeah, and I love taking stun counters off. There's now cards that come in with stun counters, or when they attack, they get stun counters, and it takes a long time for them to be taken off. Mm-hmm. So
like the new Baloth thing.
Yeah, the new Baloth thing, Ambling Stormshell from
Dragonstorm.
That's
a cool one.
Yeah, so there's a lot of just different little things to do there. And then I think sticking a finality counter from one of your things onto someone else's is really funny.
Yeah, I love that.
It just gets exiled now when it dies.
Mystic Remora is one that I thought of. You can take the time counter from your Mystic Remora and put it onto something else. As long as the thing that you put it on doesn't have cumulative upkeep, it won't affect it in any way. It just has the time counter sitting on it, but it will make your Mystic Remora cheap in the long run. Obviously, you're paying mana, so you don't have to pay mana, but the idea that you can use a little bit of mana now to save it later is very helpful.
Yep. And then there are commanders that do care about, for instance, specific power. So everyone's favorite sexy frog, Sab Sunin, cares about whether it has even or odd counters on it.
Just means that you're in perfect control over the situation with your commander. It's also very good in proliferate decks, where like you have one thing that's very good at making counters, and you can start spreading out those counters so you have more things to proliferate.
Yeah. Like getting a bunch of hexproof. Are there hexproof counters? Indestructible counters, let's say. No?
I'm sure there's hexproof counters. Yeah. The like frog thing. Not frog. You know what I mean. It flashes in and puts a hexproof counter on something.
Yeah. So proliferating those and spreading them around is pretty nice, yeah. Or even proliferating, again, your opponent's stuff, getting a stun counter on something and making sure it's perma-stunned is kind of sweet, too.
Yeah, you can do some really neat stuff with this card, and it just got reprinted, so it's sitting at 50 cents. If you haven't tried it out in your counters deck, I think it's the most fun in Saga decks. Yeah. That's definitely where I like using it, especially with all of the new Saga creatures.
Yeah, people that are playing Tidus Unis Guardians decks, obviously.
All right, let's keep on moving to one of my... I don't know if this card's good, but it is so fun.
Yeah, it looks good to me.
Soaring Seacliff.
We're soaring.
This is a land that enters the battlefield tapped, and when Soaring Seacliff enters the battlefield, target creature gains flying until end of turn, and it taps to add blue.
It's a jump, but on a land.
I think this card is so fun. First of all, it's really fun with bounce lands because you can use this repeatedly.
Yeah,
but
no one sees this coming, by the way.
Absolutely not. I play this in my Lord of Tressorhorn deck. That is it's a Voltron strategy, so he's like a big 10-4 on the ground, doesn't have any natural evasion, and being able to play a land and freely, you sort of effectively play 1 mana for it.
Yeah.
To give him flying out of nowhere makes people feel like, I was so ready on the ground, and now I had nothing, and they can't really interact with it. It's very fun.
It might just kill you.
It might just kill you.
Yeah.
Usually when you play Soaring Seacliff, it either is a tapped blue land and you're a little bummed about it, or it kills somebody.
It kills someone
awesome.
or deals so much damage that it changes how the game goes. Yeah.
I wanted to compare this to Rogue's Passage because this sees little to no play and Rogue's Passage sees a ton of it.
Yeah.
And it's largely because Rogue's Passage comes in untapped and you can use it definitely on the turn that you need it. But this does effectively the same thing, taps for colored mana and has that same effect. Feels like it should be seeing more play in Voltron type strategies.
Yeah. I think Voltron for sure. Sometimes there are just the flying matters strategies maybe, but I guess you already have flyers in those
Most
decks.
of your stuff probably has flying.
Yeah. But there are a lot of games that are in stalemate and you just need to punch through damage, and Soaring Seacliff type effects, if you're again not too worried about the effect it has on your mana base, can be really effective.
Yeah.
And again, with the bounce lands that we talked about earlier, it's a way to pick it up,
play it again.
We should mention that every land that we talk about in this episode is very good with lands that do multiple land drops a turn, because now you don't worry so much about the mana hit, and now it's like as though you're using your land to play a spell, but for 0 cost.
Yeah.
So.
And we're trying to make it a little bit easier for you to hit that 38 number in your decks.
Yeah. This next one, I'm surprised, kind of like flew under the radar. When it first came out, we were excited about it.
Yes.
Josh played it in his Commander deck on that Game Nights episode, and I was like, this thing is going to see a lot of play.
It was in Game Nights Live, too. It's hugely powerful in both those games and just never caught any traction. And so we're going to talk about it again.
Yeah, it's the Sunken Palace. It sunk a little too far. It's a cave, and it enters the battlefield tapped. It can tap it to add a blue mana, but you can also pay 1 in blue, tap it, exile 7 cards from your graveyard. Maybe that's why.
That's a lot.
Add blue mana. When you spend this mana to cast a spell or activate an ability, you copy that spell or ability, and you may choose new targets for the copy. Of course, mana abilities can't be targeted. So it's not just a spell you're copying. You can also activate, have an ability that you activate with it.
As long as you're spending mana to activate that ability, you can copy it. So you can't copy like a Planeswalker activation or anything. But the fact that this can copy permanent spells repeatedly is wild.
Yeah.
There just aren't really lands that do this in this way. And yes, exiling 7 cards is a big cost. If you cannot meet that cost, this isn't going to go in your deck. But if you look at the rate on this, it's 3 mana, gives you a mana back, so it's effectively 2 mana.
Right, use that mana to spend something, yeah.
To get to like make a copy of the next thing that you cast.
It doesn't sacrifice itself either, which a lot of times these effects do, yeah.
I was looking at Mirror Pool, which is the colorless land that requires colorless to activate. So it's like 2 and colorless, tap, sacrifice Mirror Pool, copy target instant or sorcery spell you control. You may choose new targets for the copy.
Yeah, it's limited in that it's only instants and sorceries, whereas Sunken Palace does anything, any spell that you cast, which is pretty sweet.
I mean, you can use Mirror Pool to be 4 and a colorless, sack it to make a token that's a copy of a creature you control, so you can do permanents, but that's like 6 mana.
And it's only creatures.
And you're sacrificing Mirror Pool, and it's only creatures. So there's just so much more restrictions put on Mirror Pool, like not to mention you just have to have colorless mana than Sunken Palace. With the amount of graveyard decks, this is just crazy, it feels like.
Yeah, Mirror Pool is a card that I have long loved and found that like, dang it, I don't actually have enough color sources to make this work. Sunken Palace is like, sweet, I want to do this, but I don't have enough graveyard mill or whatever it is to make it work. So I think if you're in the right deck for Sunken Palace, like Spellslinger decks are naturally going to fill up their graveyards so much, and they want to double spell or copy their spells, or decks that care about copying as well. But yeah, I think Sunken Palace has a really high ceiling. Like, I know a lot of cards I play that have Threshold on them. I'm like, I will hit Threshold, no problem. It's like turn 6 and you have 2 cards in your graveyard somehow. You're like, what happened? So don't get stuck in that position.
It's also like the opportunity cost is it's a tapped blue source. Like that is not so bad. And if you can activate this once and copy 1 impactful spell, it's going to go a long way toward closing the game.
Yeah, and it's also just threat of activation of this kind of thing too. Once you get those 7 cards in your graveyard and people know that it is up, they know that you could be planning for one of those turns where you do something so explosive that no one can catch up, or sets you so far ahead that it sort of seals the win for you. So I think that's definitely the again, really high ceiling on what this card can do.
Like we look at this kind of thing in self-mill decks, but I also think if you're playing like a wheel deck, this is incredible.
Yeah,
like because you're regularly dumping stuff into your graveyard, and wheels are incredible to copy in wheel decks.
Yeah,
because you get like 2 windfalls is wild.
Yeah.
And then you're refilled for the next time that you can activate Sunken Ruins. So, I mean, if you just look at the other kinds of restrictions that get put on lands that copy things, like the new Adagia, the white planet, this one you have to station it for 12, which is no small task, and then you have to pay 4,
And
3 and a
tap it.
white, and tap it to make a token copy of an artifact or enchantment. And that, like, it only does artifacts and enchantments. And the threshold for the Sunken Palace is so much lower.
Yeah, I think definitely easier to get 7 cards into the graveyard as opposed to 12 plus power of creatures stationed at sorcery speed and then 4 mana and tapping the land to do the thing. And again, the Sunken Palace just has a lot of flexibility. Any spell or an activated ability. Like that part of it too, I don't think we've talked enough about.
You could use the blue to copy the activation on Adagia
There you
to
go.
target a different thing.
We did it, everyone. Now you're a graveyard deck that has enough creatures to station planets. Perfect.
Nice.
We're off to the
It's all
races.
coming together.
Yeah, it's all coming together.
I also wanted to mention Mycosynth Gardens. This one didn't quite fit in the budget for this episode.
Yeah.
But this card's incredible and has a similar kind of effect, but it's limited to non-token artifacts you control. It's X, tap. This land becomes a copy of a non-token artifact you control with mana value X.
Yeah.
So that card's really good and lives in the same kind of world.
All right, we have one more land to talk about here. If you've stuck around, it's a good one. It's an oldie too. Oldie but a goodie. I love the Kher Keeps of this episode, the ones that have been around for a while that still do work.
It's Vault of the Archangel.
Hey, what's in the vault?
It taps to add colorless, and it says 2 white-black creatures you control gain Death Touch and Lifelink until end of turn.
All right. Now, this is the biggest card in the world when it comes to, I'm swinging. Do you want to block? And the answer is like, no,
I don't
I'm
really.
okay. Yeah.
It's such a huge pain in the butt, this card, because you can hold it up when you're blocking and be like, I can give all my stuff Death Touch and Lifelink, like look elsewhere.
Yeah.
And then you can spend that mana on something else later.
Yeah.
Or you can spend it when you're attacking to be before you spend this mana and be like, I'll do it.
I'll do it.
I'll trade my whole board for your whole board.
I don't care. I'll gain 30 life or whatever it is.
That's fine.
Yeah.
But the other thing it does is it says that, like, okay, I'm going to alpha strike one player. I'm going to give it all lifelink. I'm going to gain like 30 life. And I feel reasonably comfortable that this player can't kill me on the next turn.
Yeah.
So it makes it easier for you to fully kill a player and not die on the crackback to another.
Yeah, it's a really good insurance policy. I think these days, there are so many games that life just drains so quickly across the table. They built so many more effects now that just make the game that much faster. That having lifelink has climbed way up in my book of like powerful. We used to say trample and haste are really in flying or like some of the best. I think lifelink is right up there now in sort of the top 5 of relevant keywords. Way more than Death Touch even.
Yeah, I mean, both of them are huge, but I just think about the lifelink swing where it's like, you know, at the end of the game where you're like, everybody's kind of got each other locked in, where you're like, if I attack, then you'll kill me. If you attack, you'll kill me. And you get in a weird king-making situation.
Yeah.
Vault of the Archangel says, like, I have a parity breaker. And, like, I can effectively double my life total in the late game and survive whatever mess you can come up with. Or I can like, leave a blocker up and effectively do enough damage or trade for enough creatures on your opponent's board.
Yeah, even just activating this on one creature that happens to be a 7/7 or whatever is huge. Yeah, because it's a life swing as well. You're taking someone else down 7 while going up 7 if they don't block or if it's a flyer or whatever.
Not to mention Death Touch pairs incredibly well with Trample.
Oh yeah, if you're a Trample deck, Felithar, Dawn of the Abzan is just a Trample commander, and there's so many cards now that give Trample to all your creatures with +1/+1 counters on it or whatever. Having that Death Touch on top of it makes you're just like unblockable in so many scenarios.
Yeah.
I mean, just think, I would ask every player right now to think about your last, like, let's say 3 commander games, and how many of them would be significantly different if you had the ability to gain 10 life on one of the late turns.
Yeah.
And I would say probably every single one of them.
A bunch of them, for sure.
Not every single one, but a lot of them.
I want to say out loud that I know that this is worse than Chroma's Will. I know. Don't comment.
That card is expensive and
that card's incredible. But this is on a land and it hides it, and it does a very similar thing to what a Chroma's Will does.
Yeah.
Where it says, like, I have power, but I'm going to gain enough life to protect myself from one player, and I'm going to deal enough damage to another player to effectively end their game.
Yeah, or make other players look at them instead of me because of where their life total is now at.
It does create a similar situation in the end game as a Chroma's Will does, where I would say like the three most important things about a Chroma's Will is protection from all colors, so it's effectively unblockable, lifelink, and double strike.
Yeah.
Like this says...
And flying. Right?
Yeah, if you have protection from all colors, flying doesn't really matter.
Vigilance is nice too. Let's not get around.
Yeah, we'll take vigilance too. But it's like, if you think about those three things, this gives you the death touch that is similar to the protection. It gives you lifelink. All it doesn't do is the double strike, which obviously is a big amount of damage, but gives you the same kind of life swing that you're looking for when you cast in a Chrome as well.
Yeah. Another thing I really like about this card is that it is in white and black. So you're not punished in white and black so much for holding up 5 mana on your turn, because that could be Ink Shield, or it could be any number of the instant speed white-black removal spells. And you'll find that...
Protection,
or board protection. Yeah. And you'll find that you'll still use that mana. You'll very rarely pass with mana up in white-black and not have something to take care of or remove, or at least use with that mana. Yeah. So in a lot of other cases of the lands we talked about today, there is quite a bit of a downside if you're not using that mana for anything else and holding up an activation and then don't actually activate.
Yeah. I feel like this is the kind of card that I haven't put in a deck in a long time, and then I see it played against me. I'm like, I should put that in a deck.
Yeah, and you know exactly which decks it works
yeah,
into.
absolutely.
Yeah,
like I don't think it's in my Shulgengar deck, and it should be. It's enormous in Shulgengar.
Because you got so many huge angels and stuff. Yeah, that can, like, again, like a 7-6 point life swing is huge in the late game, and even great in the early games too.
Yeah.
I find so many games of Commander now by turn 4 or 5, everyone's at like 25 to 30 life. And if that was 37 instead of 30, I'd feel way better.
Absolutely. Right. I mean, if you're like, oh, my life total is 39 when everybody else is 21, like you have twice as much game left as everybody else does.
Yeah.
That's a huge benefit. So Vault of the Archangel, still good, only $1.25 for you to pick that one up. It's been in a couple of precons, including it was in Dragonstorm Tarkir Dragonstorm precons recently. Tarkir Storm Dragons.
There's a dragon with Storm.
Those are the 10 cards we're going to talk about today. We spent exactly the budget we need to, $10. So your crisp $10 bill can go straight to Card Kingdom. Get all these cards ordered for your decks.
What's
pretty sweet.
$10 bill? Wait, money is in paper?
Yeah. You know, like
just
like
cardboard
Magic cards?
paper. No, that's just cards. Paper money doesn't exist. That's like in Monopoly. I don't know where you use paper money.
Is this money?
Everything is a credit card these days, isn't it?
Tiny little swipe of your credit card. You can autofill it on Card Kingdom.
Comfortable price of 3 drinks at your local coffee shop.
Yeah.
If you're lucky, maybe 2.
If you live in Los Angeles, 1
with tip. Obligatory tip. Or New York, I suppose. Yeah, $10. The link to the full list of cards that we talked about today is also in ARCHIDEKT in the description below, the more info box. That's below all of our videos.
All right. Thank you for listening. To the listeners, what is your favorite budget utility land that didn't get mentioned in this episode? Budgets were tight. We had some really cool ones we wanted to include, but I'm sure there's going to be even cooler ones in the comments. So
yeah, I want to see what's up there. I want to see someone say, someone put in Cephalid Coliseum.
Yeah, Cephalid Coliseum was on my list.
It's a cool one.
It's a really good one.
Yeah, but discarding 3 and drawing 3 is a bit.
It's also pretty similar to Sunken Ruins.
Yeah.
And I wanted to talk about Sunken Palace. Sunken Ruins is the blue-black land.
Ruins. It ain't no ruins up in here. It's a palace, but it's somehow budget.
Yeah.
It's a very budget palace, probably because it's underground. What's your favorite budget utility land, or just something else? Maybe it doesn't have to necessarily be budget, but you wish it was. Yeah. Or it could be a little bit more, like $3, $4, whatever it is. Of course, if you want to pick up any of these cards, go to cardkingdom.com/command. You can find them there. Pre-orders for the upcoming sets, some sealed product for your next draft. Whatever it is, cardkingdom.com/command. They got a great inventory. They have great customer service, and they ship it all to you in one convenient package. And of course, at the same time, you're supporting our show while you do so. All of our amazing content here, Extra Turns, Game Nights podcast, you name it, Game Nights Live, cardkingdom.com/command.
Yeah, watch our last 10 for 10. We talked about removal spells.
Yeah,
and by we, I mean me. It was me all by myself.
It was Rachel Meeks.
Once you have all these cards in your hand, you're going to need to protect them, keep them safe and organized. Go over to ultrapro.com/command and you are supporting the show while you shop. UltraPro's the best. They've got the highest quality Magic accessories in the business. I really like all of my stuff to match, which is why I really like the Mana 8 line. You can get binders in each color. So you have a white binder, a blue binder, a black binder, and you can get long boxes now that have each color.
That's right. I love the long
keep yourself
boxes.
super organized, and it looks really sharp on your shelf. Plus, make sure that you've signed up for the Ultra Pro newsletter because they are always dropping big sales, and you want to make sure you're the first to know so you can get stuff before it sells out. And you're supporting the show if you use our affiliate link at ultrapro.com/command.
Make sure you also check out our sci-fi short. It's on the, if you just go to youtube.com/@commandcast, you'll see it right there on the front. And
it was really fun.
It was really fun. And of course, commenting on it, liking it, adding it to your favorites, or subscribing to the channel because you saw it. If you're not looking to shop, you can look to watch instead the sci-fi short, and the link is, of course, in the show notes below. Check it out. It's really fun. See if you can catch all of the Easter eggs and jokes in it.
Oh my gosh.
It was one of our favorite projects ever to make. And yeah, there's still some that people have not mentioned that are still there. So I'm really excited to see what people say. And we have a behind the scenes video coming out for it. There's an article in EDHREC about it as well to make.
I think it will have just come out.
Oh, great. Yeah, check that out as well, especially if you're an aspiring filmmaker. You just want to find out more about the behind the scenes of that project.
Yeah. All right. Before we go, we got to say thank you to our amazing team here at the Command Zone who make this episode and all of our episodes possible. Thank you to Sebastian Salazar, Karina Cruz, Gaurav Galati, Jamie Block, Jordan Pridge and Jake Boss, Becky Bell, Rachel Kendra, Eric Lem, Manson Lung, Josh Murphy, Evan Limburger, Sam Waldo, and of course,
Josh Lee Kwai. All right, everyone. Thanks so much for watching this 10 for 10. If you want to see another 10 for 10 in the future, let us know what we should cover next.
Yeah.
And we'll see you next. We'll see you next.
Get that out of here.
Next time. Bye-bye.
My money.
My money. My paper monies.